Hey guys, this is our final segment. We talked all about all these playoff brackets, and we're finally ending things on a high note because this is arguably the deepest bracket, and that is Division Four Select. And man, there's about 14, 15 teams. I think Coach James Shiver said it best from St. Edmund. Like there are about 15, 16 teams that can come out of this thing. It's really deep, and we're going to talk about it. This might be another one like Division Three Select that we might have different answers for. It's that good. So we're going to go and break this one down as we're joined by Grant Sachere of Ruger Sports Media and Crescent City Sports, and obviously Daryl Felker and Alex Allison of Gridiron Football. Here we go, guys. Getting the bye. We're going to go with John D'Artes and Vermilion Catholic. The Screaming Eagles are hooting and hollering right now because they got the number one seed in the playoffs. But John D'Artes trying to do something. The only thing he hasn't accomplished in his illustrious prep career is winning a state championship, and he has a chance to do that this year. They'll take on the winner of Westminster Christian and Delta Charter. That should be a really good first round matchup. Delta Charter won that 84-82 game against General Travis a couple weeks ago in 4 overtimes. St. Martin's Episcopal, they have the best player in this entire bracket, and that is Harlan Berry, the number one running back in the entire country, as he wants to try to go on a run and win a state championship. Well, that will start against Delhi Charter. They'll take on the very explosive St. Edmund Blue Jays. They've been scoring like 40, 50 points a game, and they are as dangerous as an 8 seed can be in the playoffs. They'll have a first round bye. Ascension Episcopal, really solid program, solid team, and a really good year as a number 5 seed. They'll have a bye. They'll take on the winner of Kentwood, a team that's won a lot of state championships and has a great athletes, kind of like Amy we talked about earlier. They'll take on number 21 seed St. Mary's. Talk about how deep this playoff bracket is. Your defending Division 4 select state champions are number 13 seed. That shows you how good this bracket is. They'll take on number 20 Sacred Heart, as I believe they're trying to go for 3 of the last 4 years for state championships. They'll take
Mm-hmm.
on St. Frederick, who has a bye. Also having a bye, one of the few undefeated teams left in the state, Covenant Christian. Jesse Turner deserves a lot of credit for this team, the former Ellender coach. The Lions are undefeated. I mean, he is really up there for coach of the year with the type of run that they've had this year. Central Catholic, they will host a playoff game too. They're a sneaky team at that number 14 seed. They'll take Lincoln Prep, who is the number 19 seed. The last two state champions in this playoff bracket are double digit seeds. Washita Christian, who won, it was sandwiched in between Southern Lab, they are the number 11 seed, not because of their record. They only lost one game all year to Oak Grove, but they haven't played the toughest of schedules. Take on number 22, Glenbrook. Catholic P will have a bye. They were one game away from having an undefeated season. They did win district, but they did finish the season with a loss to Opelousas Catholic. So let's see how that bye helps or hurts them as they'll take on most likely Washita Christian in the second round. Riverside Academy. Talk about exciting running backs. Dedrick Lasty is as exciting as it gets. Well, Riverside Academy, they were in the Superdome last year. They're trying to go back to the state championship where they'll take on Hamilton Christian and St. John. Both these two teams played earlier this year, so it was a rematch of that game won by Hamilton Christian. Javon Vial for Hamilton Christian. Keep an eye on him. This dude is a stud at the quarterback position for Hamilton Christian, and he's only a sophomore. We also have Opelousas Catholic. They're the number 15 seed. They're as dangerous of a 15 seed you will find here. Um, they'll play Westminster Christian and Lafayette. They'll take on Ascension. The winner of that game will take on Ascension Catholic, led by Gridiron Football All American Bowl game commit Chad Elzy. They'll take on the winner of that game. If it's Opelousas Catholic, that would be a rematch of last year's playoff game. Remember, Chad, that was a game Chad Elzy scored 9 touchdowns in one game. So that will be an interesting matchup there. But there are a lot of great teams in this playoff bracket. Grant, I'm going to start with you first. You said it. a lot about this bracket, about how deep this is, how many teams could potentially get out of this bracket. Grant, interested to see interesting to hear your comments about this bracket. Who you have coming out of this loaded Division Four select bracket?
Oh, I mean, I think it will be Vermilion Catholic, for at least for the top half. That I think I could guarantee that. However, for the rest of the teams, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you guys were over. I heard you guys I overheard you guys talking about St. Edmunds and St. Mars. I know you guys. Well, there's no way that St. Mars is going to stop St. Edmund. The question you should also be asking: can St. Edmunds stop Harlem Berry?
Right. It goes both ways. Yep.
And Coach Shiver will say the same thing. Like we just saw. Me and Alex were there. We literally saw Harlem Berry rush for over 300 yards against a Riverside team who is better than St. Edmunds, and who's better than St. Edmunds, and they couldn't stop it. But even though St. Martin's still lost, they couldn't stop Harlem Berry. Harlem Berry is a freak of nature. I mean, you saw why he's the number one running back in the country. I mean, he elevated that program single-handedly. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the other players on the team aren't bad, because they have some good players on the team as well. But a lot of people want to go to St. Martin's. So there's some people who want to play football at St. Martin's because Harlem Berry is there. But here's the funny thing about Harlem Berry. Harlem Berry didn't go to St. Martin's because of football. He went there because of basketball. And then they I'm really good at football too. And then the rest is history. But I mean, once St. Martin's gets to the quarterfinals, I think they'll beat Salmon. But once they get to the quarterfinals, that's where obviously the season ends, and then Harlem Berry will start getting ready to suit up in the purple and gold. But if you look at the rest of if you don't I think Kenwood's going to be St. Mary's to move on to play Sister Episcopal. I have no idea who's going to win that one. I'm not even joking. You go down the list. I mean, Southern Lab and St. Fred's. I think Southern Lab has the edge, but I don't know because St. Fred's is a really good team as well. I mean, it's so hard to pick this. Matter of fact, Catholic Point Capee was a top 4 seed until they lost last week.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that loss really hurt them because now they go against Washington Christian, who actually, I'm going to say this right now. Can you go down to the list a little bit, Jason? I'm going to see the rest of the team. So, this is probably the hardest one, really. I mean, but they're both hard. I mean, they're both hard. I mean, this is the only bracket where, you look down the bracket, I guess this team. Actually, no, I don't know. I don't know if I should pick this. Maybe no. That's what this bracket is. I mean, I'll say this. Washington Christian it'll be Washington Christian and Washington Christian and Vermilion Catholic in a rematch of the 2022 state championship, and I believe that Vermilion Catholic will come on top this time. However, that's not a guarantee that Vermilion Catholic will even win in the state championship, nor will they how about even get to the state championship. I mean, this bracket is really tough. If anybody asks me who you think is going to win in any of these games, please don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. That's how deep this bracket is, guys. I mean, from 1 through 16, 17. Yeah. Start looking at the teams. Go up, Jace. A little bit more. Even look at all these teams, man. I mean, it's hard to pick. It really is. I mean, Westminster Christian's a really good team.
Delta Charge is not a bad team.
Delta Charge is not a bad team, and they're the 16 and 17 team.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's this is a really deep. I'm not saying they're going to win the whole thing, but my point is, there's a lot of really good teams in this select Division 4, and just because they're 1A and smaller 2A schools doesn't mean that this bracket doesn't have any good teams. There's a lot of really good teams in this bracket. Matter of fact, if you look past all the other videos we've done, I can actually go down this. Okay, well, this team's going to go here. This team's going to beat this team. This team's going to be upset this team. For this bracket, I have no idea. I'm not even joking. That's how deep this bracket is. I mean, and you can flip a coin for any of these games.
When's the last time you've seen Washington Christian, Kentwood, and Southern Lab as double-digit seeds?
Exactly. Washington Christian's 11th seed. Southern Lab is the 13th seed. And Kentwood's the 12th seed. Any other year, they will probably be a top 5-6 seeds in a year in and year out. They're double digits. That's how deep this bracket is, guys. That's how deep this. For anybody who doesn't understand, Three of those schools have won a state championship in the last 5 to 7 years.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, you look at it, Riverside's been in the state championship, Ascension Catholic's been in the state championship, Washita Christian, Southern Lab,
I mean,
Kentwood,
all the teams you mentioned have been in the state championship since
William Catholic.
2018.
Yep.
Like that's crazy. This is the deepest bracket there is, guys. I mean, it's no doubt about it. And I mean, I know I said not select Division One's deep. This is even deeper. I have a hard time trying to pick who's going to win any of these games.
Yeah, you've had other top heavy brackets, but as far as depth comes, there's not a bracket like this where you can say 16, 17 teams have a legitimate shot.
It could easily be 2 double-digit teams in the state championship. And it's not because the bracket sucks. It's because they're all very good. They all bring something to the table. I mean, this is a deep bracket. It really is.
With that being said, I know it is a really deep bracket. You went with Vermilion Catholic on the top side of the bracket, but who do you think?
I said Washita Christian. Christian.
Okay, Washita Christian. So that's a rematch of a couple years ago, but you say this time Vermilion Catholic gets to win, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. For myself,
and I don't. And by the way, I don't feel confident that decision either. I'm telling you, this is probably the only one where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. That tells you everything you know about the bracket. Look past the other videos and look at this video, and you'll see why.
Here, I have Vermilion Catholic, and I mean I have them going to, let's see, so they'll advance to the state championship game. John Dart says he's on a mission of going back to the state championship game too, finish off his career. I would love. I'm with you. St. Edmund's been so good this year, but you would want to see John Dartez and Harlan Berry play against each other in the playoffs. Like it's just set up to be that way, and I think St. Martin's will find a way to get there. It's going to be tough going past that St. Edmund football team, especially when they're rolling offensively. But I want to see it happen. So I'm going to see St. Martin's and Vermilion Catholic. And then when you look at the bottom side, I tell you what, I think Southern Lab is going to be the one that gets to the semifinals to play Vermilion Catholic. I mean, they're the defending state champions. They won 2 of the last 3. I like Southern Lab with their championship pedigree. I know they've had a rough patch in the middle of the season, losing 3 in a row, but I think they're back on track. And I like Southern Lab to get there to the semifinals, but they'll fall to Vermilion Catholic. The bottom side, I think the bye comes at it's a bad matchup for Catholic Point Compete, but it comes at a good time. The bye does come at a good time because I think they ran out a little bit of gas in that final game against Opelousas Catholic. They're not the deepest team, even for 1A. They're not that deep, but they definitely deserve the rest. It's a bad matchup for them. I have Washita Christian being Catholic Point Compete. Covington Christian's had a great season, Jesse Turner, but we haven't seen Covenant Christian in this spot. I have Washita Christian at least going to the semifinals. But look on the other side of it. I mean, Chad, you got some really good running backs, Chad Elzy, and you have Dedrick Lassie. I think we see that matchup in the quarterfinals. How exciting would that be, seeing Elzy and Dedrick Lassie going against each other? That's going to be some great running back plays. But going to the Superdome, I have Riverside Academy. They were in the dome last year. Really they have a chance to go back this year. They're not only the Dedrick Lassie show. They got weapons all over the place on offense. Their quarterback's solid. They got 2 good wide receivers too. I like this Riverside Academy football team, and I think we'll get a rematch of that regular season matchup between Riverside Academy and Vermilion Catholic. How fun would that be to see John D'Artez and Dedrick Lassie in the state championship?
Daryl.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be really fun to watch. I'm gonna have them play each other, and like it's what we talked about with a lot of these teams. If it's not going to be this year, when it's going to be, I think Vermilion Cat's been so close in a lot of years, whether it's the semifinals or state championship. I think John D'Artez is going to have that one of those special runs we see from a high school football player. I'm going to go with Vermilion Catholic to win this bracket.
Yeah, I mean it is. I think we've talked about how great John's career has been, and he's like, well, how has he not won a state championship yet? And then you look at the bracket that he has to play in, and you're like,
Yep.
Yeah, but I'll Gerald, if you want to go first, I think you have a much better idea about some of these teams because you got to see Riverside and Riverside and Vermilion Catholic play already. So I have some of my own thoughts, but Gerald, if you want to go first, I think you've got some.
Yeah, I mean, this bracket is like you guys said, this bracket is crazy, and I mean, I definitely think St. Martin's versus St. Edmund in the second round. I think that's going to be one of the best matchups for that week. I can't tell you who I think is going to win, but whoever wins out of that game, I do think they end up losing to Vermilion Catholic, and I think Vermilion Catholic. I think they go all the way to the state championship. The one game I saw, I was really pleased with. Like, I mean, that team, like we said, we talk about John D'Artes and how he'll have 30, 40 carries a game, and that's how they win the game sometimes, but it doesn't always have to be that. They have a complete team, and that's how they win games. It's not all on him, even though he can be the big headline player sometimes. So I definitely think they're going to go all the way from this top half. And on the bottom half, it gets a lot more interesting for me because I've seen Chad Elzy, I've seen Dedrick Lasty. That is a matchup that I need to see. I have to see that, and even if I don't catch it personally, I have to see the highlights or just the outcome of that game because I genuinely don't know who will come out victorious in that game. So I definitely think they're going to meet up in the quarterfinals. And I guess I probably would roll with Riverside, like you guys said. I mean, it's the Dedrick Lasty show sometimes, but that in that game against Vermilion Catholic, their offense, they were able to throw the ball as well. They had multiple good receivers. And I mean, when you're going up against a team like that, they had a few early mistakes. They went down early, and that was the game. They just could never catch up to Vermilion Catholic. But if they clean up some of those mistakes and just play a clean game, I definitely think they have the potential to go all the way. And looking at Covenant Christian, I mean, I'm pretty sure you said they're still sitting at they're still undefeated.
Yep.
I mean, it's really hard to look at a team like that who hasn't lost and say, oh yeah, we're going to count them out. But when you look and they're supposed to meet up with Catholic Point Compete or Wichita Christian, it's going to be tough for them. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's going to come out of that. I'll roll with Catholic Point Compete.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'll roll with them, but I definitely think in the state championship it's going to be Vermilion Catholic and Riverside, and I think that John D'Artes, I think he gets it done this time. Ends his career off, with a state championship.
Okay, there you have it. So it looks like we have, despite the depth of this bracket, I think we're all in agreement that Vermilion Catholic is going to come out on top of this bracket. But man, it's just so crazy to think about all the different options. And I know that Riverside can come out of this bracket. Ascension Catholic can come out of this bracket on the bomb side. Grant, I'm going to ask you this question. On the top side of the bracket, who is the biggest challenger to Vermilion Catholic?
Ooh, everybody. I mean, that's the
moment.
Only like, if I had to choose one, I don't know. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this is the only bracket where I'm like, it could be any of these because I think everyone has the talent to beat Vermilion Catholic. I had to choose one. I might have to say Southern Lab because they've done it before, maybe. But even then, look at everybody's roads to even get a chance to play Vermilion Catholic. It's tough. But if I had to pick one, it would be Southern Lab. But I don't feel confident about that either. It could be any of these teams, you know.
Yeah.
I would say this. Go down to the bottom of the list. I would say, because I forgot I mentioned this earlier. It says a Catholic. I said this on the show the other day, and I know we got a text from Troy LaBeouf in the middle of it because I know he was watching, and he's going to use that clip to motivate the team. But I said that such a Catholic was an upset alert.
Yeah.
Of all the teams on this list, I think.
Damn it!
All these teams. I mean, I think any of these teams
Yeah,
are an upset alert.
Love us picking against them because
I know. Because all these teams are on all the top 8. All the top 8 teams are on upset alert. However, I think Essential Catholic is more so than any other team because look, even when you get the second round, I know now they did drill Opelousas Catholic last year, right? They did. They beat them like 74, 77.
Oh, yeah,
that's like 9 touchdowns or 400 yards of rushing, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I think it was like 477 or something like that. It was insane.
Went off.
But Opelousas Catholic's a very good team, and so is Westminster Christian of Lafayette.
Yeah.
Most unoriginal name ever, by the way, because there's Westminster Christian and Opelousas.
Opelousas,
you got 2 Westminster Christians in the same area. But anyway, I digress. But even if you win that game, you most likely will have to play Riverside, and that is a very tough game. Very tough.
Yeah.
I mean, the bomb side. I mean, looking at this now, like, it's every game's gonna be tough. But for Central Catholic, of all the number 2 seeds, this is the toughest road to get there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is. Of all the number 2 seeds, this is the toughest one. I think Essential Catholic can do it, but it's gonna be really, really tough. I think Essential Catholic, from watching their team, they're definitely a state title contender.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely will go far in the playoffs, but their road to get where they want to get is extremely tough.
Because if you get by Riverside Academy, most likely you have to play a team like Washita Christian or
Catholic Winkabee or Covenant Christian.
Covenant Christian. Just to get there is tough. And then not to mention, if you get to the state championship, most likely you're playing Vermilion Catholic or maybe even a Southern Lab or a team like that. So that is a tough road ahead for Ascension Catholic. But, man, we talk about star power. We might have the biggest star power in this bracket, too. I mean, look at it. Chad.
Barry, Lasty, LZ, like half the Southern Lab team.
Even I was just about to say, even Southern Lab, I saw them early in the season. And I mean, like you said, they dropped those 3 games in the middle of the season, but it's still Southern Lab. And they kind of pick things back up at the end of the season. So we can't just count them out just because they're sitting at 13. They kind of have a much not easy, but a easier path than some other teams that we've talked about.
Yeah, like along the way, I think Kentwood beats Ascension Episcopal. I mean, Kentwood's just sneaky at that 12 seed. And having that game, I think it will benefit Kentwood. But Kentwood and Southern Lab to see that potentially, in the quarter
with a 12 and 13 by their names. Yeah. If you told me, Ascension, Kentwood's the 5 seed and Southern Lab's the 4 seed, and they're going to be in the quarterfinals. 12 and 13. Yeah. So
forget about the seeds. These are programs, and they've won a lot of state championships and are used to this. So, that's like the program brand names. Like they can definitely do it, and they got athletes. So that not necessarily that Ascension Episcopal and St. Frederick are really used to seeing in terms of the athleticism and those and the speed those 2 teams have.
So,
Go ahead.
No, you can go for. Okay.
I was gonna say I definitely think this is going to be the bracket that we come back to every week, and one game that we predicted, it's always going to be wrong. I feel like it's always going to be upset that we didn't see coming just because there's so much talent, like we said, throughout it.
Absolutely. And guys, you're going to break. Go ahead, Alex.
I haven't made any of my picks yet.
Oh yeah. Remind me.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. Here's the thing. When I was talking, I saw both your faces, and the fact that when I said, "Well, this bracket, I can't pick a winner in this bracket," I saw you guys' eyes light up. I was like, "Oh, they don't even know what they're going to do. They don't even know what they're going to say."
Yeah, if Grant and James don't know, I could probably say I don't know anything either.
So here's the interesting thing. The reason my eyes lit up was because I actually have a very different feeling about this bracket than some of the others. that I actually do have some conviction in some of my picks. Not all of them. A lot of this is a mess. More so because the reason I reacted the way I did was more so because I'm just more familiar with a lot of these teams. I've been to a St. Edmund game, Opelousas Catholic.
So am I. That's my thing. So am I. I don't feel confident. I don't feel confident at all.
It's not that I feel confident talking, like making a lot of these picks. It's more so just like I feel like I understand these teams a little bit better than talking about Haynesville and Oak Grove and yada yada yada. So okay, so I have a very different view on the St. Edmund St. Martin's Episcopal game. I don't think St. Martin's Episcopal is going to win the game. I don't think it's actually going to be that close. St. Martin's Episcopal ran on Riverside. Riverside's a good team. Riverside's better than St. Edmund. St. Martin's Episcopal also lost the game by 40 points.
Yeah.
I don't think the matchup between St. Edmund's offensive line and St. Martin's Episcopal's defensive line is going to be competitive in the slightest. I don't think it's going to be close. St. Edmund's beat a really good Opelousas Catholic team I'll talk about Opelousas Catholic earlier because Grant, you beat me to it. I think that's a team that has the capacity to knock off a team like Ascension Catholic or one of these really high seeds. But St. Ed's ran on Opelousas Catholic. That's a team that can be run on, but St. Edmund's offensive line looked awesome. And they have the capacity to just it could be a game. I wouldn't be shocked if the St. Martin's St. Edmund game looked a lot like that St. Martin's Riverside game, where Harlem Berry gets his, and he gets 200 yards, he gets 300 yards, he gets a bunch of touchdowns, and it's not even close anyway. Where St. Edmund's just scores at will, because I think they have the capacity to do that on a team like St. Martin's Episcopal.
I'll say this though. How does St. Edmund's special teams look?
Rough. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's going to be the difference. That's why I'm going to pick St. Martin because
here's the interesting thing about that. St. Edmund won the game against Opelousas Catholic because they had bad special teams. Sounds weird to say. They didn't kick an extra point. They went 5 for 6 on 2-point conversions because their offensive line was that dominant. They were in the same play on every 2-point conversion attempt, and it didn't matter. It
is not a small dude to tackle.
No,
I know, but that's not my point. My point is also field position.
Yeah, the ability to win.
I mean, the ability to kick field goal. I mean, there's a lot of things that play into specialties other than making an extra point. That's the thing. St. Edmunds can score at will, but this game will be St. Martin's can do whatever they can to keep the ball out of St. Martin's hands because they know St. Edmunds can score at will. Now the issue is Harlem Berry must break off an 80-yard touchdown because Harlem Berry. That would be kind of the issue. However, because St. Martin's this is a game where they want Harlem Berry to get as many carries as possible. This is it. They've usually Coach. I talked to Coach Dizer. Because Coach Dizer kind of wanted to lay off giving the ball to Harlem Berry a whole lot because he's got better players around him now. However, this is a game where we're just going to run the ball every single play to keep the ball in St. Edmund's hands.
I just don't know if St. Martin's is built to do that. Like
They are.
Riverside's a better team than St. Edmund. I agree about that. But we were at that game. Every drive was a 3-and-out or a 60-yard touchdown.
That's Riverside's defense. It's much better than St.
Riverside's defense is a lot better than St. Edmund's. I get that. I don't have a lot of faith in St. Martin's as a team. This is what I'll say. If St. Edmund's beats St. Martin's, I think St. Edmund's will lose to Vermilion Catholic, but I think they will keep things somewhat somewhat interesting-ish. If St. Martin's plays Vermilion Catholic,
team than St. Martin's, but
if St. Martin's plays Vermilion Catholic,
you just need the best player on the football field.
Sometimes. So this is my other point about this. If St. Edmunds wins the game against Vermilion Catholic, I think Vermilion Catholic will win the game comfortably, but it won't be ugly. If St. Martin's plays Vermilion Catholic, you guys are hyped about Jonathan D'Artes versus Harlem Berry. I don't think the game would be close.
No. I don't agree with that. They get Vermilion Catholic's killing both those teams in the quarterfinals. They're killing them both. I think that's the thing. They're both I think St. Martin's and St. Edmunds are very similar in terms of how the team's built, which is why Vermilion Catholic is going to destroy the crap out of both of them. Because Vermilion and also St. Edmunds has never been. When was the last time St. Edmunds has even been the quarterfinal? Vermilion Catholic's been there and done that. Mm-hmm. That's why I think they're going to go.
I'm not saying Vermilion Catholic is. I don't think there's any.
St. Edmunds and St. Martin.
I think my point is, I think St. Edmunds will beat St. Martin's. I think if St. Edmunds plays Vermilion Catholic, I think they'll lose by 20. I think it'd be a lot uglier if St. Martin's played Vermilion Catholic. That's my own take.
One of the best games.
That game is going to be so exciting next week. Assuming St. Martin's, I'll be honest, I went into this expecting you talking about this deep playoff bracket and all of this stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, St. Martin's Episcopal is one of those teams that's super high variance, and if they're a low seed, they could maybe knock off one of these higher seeds. They're not 9 seed.
They're not.
They're the 9
they're
seed.
Not. I mean, I said St. Martin's at best is a quarterfinal team.
No,
especially in this bracket. I mean. 2 years ago, they went to the semifinals, but I'll argue that bracket wasn't nearly as strong as this one we're seeing right now. Because especially when you add in because Kenwood's new to this bracket this year, because they used to be in NATSA. Now they're left because they're an open enrollment school.
So I think St. Edmunds will win that game against St. Martin's Episcopal is kind of the general point. I'll take Southern Lab to meet Vermilion Catholic in the semis. There are a lot of good teams in that bracket, but I'll trust the team that's been there. Yeah. I don't think they'll beat Vermilion Catholic. I think I agree with Grant on the idea that they'll give Vermilion Catholic the best game in that bracket. But I do think Vermilion Catholic will win the game. The other side is also very fun. Covenant Christian is a team that is fairly close to where I grew up, and so I have a lot of I'm pretty familiar with the team. They've been really bad for a long time.
Yeah.
They were historically pretty terrible, and so this is one of those, maybe not to the same level, but reminds you a little bit of the Haynes Academy story, where this is kind of a feel good. Can they actually make a run on top of being undefeated? We'll have to see, because it's not an easy path. I do think they'll make it to the quarterfinals, but the Ouachita Christian, we talked about a really fun second round matchup between St. Martin's and St. Edmund. Ouachita Christian Catholic Point B is going to be a ton of fun too. I don't have quite the same familiarity with those teams, but I think that'll be really interesting. I'll give Ouachita Christian the nod in that game. But yeah.
Yeah, I saw Catholic Point compete. They are solid. They play hard, man, for 48 minutes, and they got some good players there too. Rory Lambert is a big-time lineman too that is going to be hard to push around, because there's not a lot of size in 1A to push around a guy like that. Mm-hmm. But Jude Lambert's a good quarterback for Catholic Point compete. They play both ways, Parker Jewell, but they just don't have numbers. And they've been a little banged up too. But I just don't Catholic Point P. I just don't like that matchup with Ouachita Christian too.
Nah, it's tough. Yeah. So I'll take Ouachita Christian to beat Catholic Point B. I'll take them to beat Covenant Christian, although I think that'll be a good game. I think Covenant Christian can give it a shot, certainly. Mm-hmm. I'll take Ouachita Christian in the semis. My pick to be in the finals against Vermilion Catholic is Ascension Catholic.
Okay.
I think Opelousas Catholic is a really good team. Got to see him play against St. Edmunds. There's a lot that's really good there. I think it's actually, as I think from a raw talent perspective, Ascension Catholic's on upset alert. Grant talked about that earlier. Absolutely. I think the matchup's actually pretty good for Ascension Catholic, though, because Chad Elsey's awesome. Last year, he ran for 9 touchdowns in this game. They couldn't stop him last year, and Opelousas Catholic can get run on a bit. We saw this against St. Edmunds. The same thing's kind of true for Riverside. I think Riverside will make it to the quarterfinals. I think they'll beat Hamilton Christian, although it's not like that's a given or anything.
Hamilton Christian, watch out for that dude. Because
that's a good team. I like Riverside Academy a lot, though. I will give them the nod to make it to the quarters. But that's another team that can kind of get run on a bit. Harlem Berry, look, Chad Elsey's great.
Yeah, that was Harlem Berry. I know.
Harlem Berry.
Yeah.
That's Harlem Berry. Let me preface this. That's Harlem Berry. But
yeah.
There is the potential there as well. I'll take Ascension Catholic in that matchup too. Not with some insane level of confidence or anything. I'm not saying lock it in or anything, but I will take Ascension Catholic in that matchup. And then I'll have them against Ouachita Christian. I'll give them the nod. I'll give it the nod to Chad Elsey. So my final matchup is, weirdly enough, for the deepest. And I absolutely agree that this is the deepest bracket. There are going to be so many. I think in the number of interesting games metric, this will be the best bracket.
Mm-hmm.
You're already in round 2. You're talking about games that are just going to be so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Funnily enough, I'm going to go chalk for the finals, though. Vermilion Catholic over Ascension Catholic. It's going to be a tough road. He's going to have to bear crawl over a field of broken glass to get there. But I think John finally gets it done, wins the state championship, and completes a storied career at Vermilion Catholic with a win over Chad Elsey and Ascension Catholic.
Yeah, this is going to be one of these playoff brackets. There's going to be an incredible individual performance run.
Yes.
Whether it kind of reminds me of, and Grant remembers this too. Remember when Puka Williams went on that run all the way to the Dome? It's going to be something like that. A guy has to carry his team to the Dome. Whether it's Halsey with Ascension Catholic, whether it's John D'Artes with the Vermilion Catholic, whether it's even Harlan Berry for Riverside Academy. I mean, not
for St. Martin's.
Right. Exactly. But there's going to have to be a guy that carries this team.
There's something special about Division 4 playoffs in some ways, because it's these like superhero efforts, because the schools are so small, right? And so the gap in the depth between the best player on a team and the 9th best player on a team or the 13th best player on a team is a lot wider than in these juggernauts in 5A, where it's gonna be like the storybooks. It's gonna be, can the superhero Jonathan D'Artes bring a state championship, or will he fall to Chad Elsey or Dedrick Lasty or Rowan Badgeron for Opelousas Catholic and Crow Skillen, that really awesome high flying passing attack? Or we talked about Lasty, we talked about Javon Vital, we talked about all of these different players. It's like a legend, folklore. Stories will be told about whoever comes out of this bracket to win the state championship. That's what this feels like. So I am so excited for this bracket.
Yeah, somebody's going to etch himself in Louisiana High School Football Award and will be a legend by the time this comes out. But I found it very interesting, as deep as we all talked about the bracket. We all went with the same state champion, Vermilion Catholic. So
tells you what we think of that team.
Yeah.
So Coach Prejean, hopefully we don't jinx y'all. They rat poison for y'all either. But we're definitely gonna be following along this bracket as well. That will be a great one. Guys, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for jumping on board. And I know obviously you can follow Alex's work, Daryl's work at gridironfootballusa.com. We'll talk about games that they're assigned. I appreciate Grant. Grant was on here for a long time. So I'm going to get some time for Grant to plug anything that he wants to promote for Crescent City Sports, Rooter Sports Media. Anything that you want to plug, Grant?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we did the stream because I would have been in Baton Rouge forever.
Yeah.
Given how this happened. But anyway, yeah, thanks for having me on, Jace. Weekly. I know this is a very, very fun show, and I believe this is probably really because our bracket reveal show was really long too. But that's only because we're waiting for the brackets to come out, so we're just trying to fill time in. This was arguably the longest show we had, and it wasn't just filling time, but we're just kind of breaking down each and every game. And also you had four people talking at one time. So it was a very long show. But once again, you can find my work at CrescentCitySports.com. Jason's actually pulling up right now. They have a lot of really good stuff on there, whether it's the Saints, LSU, prep football, any other local sports in the New Orleans area. It's a great resource to have. And also, Jason, you might want to show the scoreboard real quick to kind of give you an idea. Also, they have a really cool scoreboard that they use. And they'll have every single game that's happened in Louisiana. They'll update it as much as they possibly can because it's hard to keep up with all the scores going around the state. If it's buffering, here we go. There we go. Bang. So they already got the playoff matches already up. So if you go on the website, Jude Young, who's the co-owner, along with Ken Drahan, he updates each and every single one of these games to the best of his abilities because obviously it's really hard to find scores from across the state. We get, also helps that you get to call a lot of the reporters call in to radio. So that's usually how they get the scores up. But some of the other games, you got to go all over the place to find them. But it's a great resource to have, especially in these crazy times, called the Louisiana High School Football Playoffs. So I'm really excited that all starts on Thursday when Captain Shreve and Evangel play each other, and good luck to the defense coordinators that are coaching that game, and also good luck to the local journalists who are covering that game as well, because they're probably going to fill up their notebooks by the end of the night.
I think the defensive coordinators might need a drink by the end of the game.
Yeah, free beer on the defense coordinator. free beer for the defense coordinator. How about that?
Absolutely, guys. You can check out our website as well, gridironfootballusa.com. We got a bunch of bowl game commitments being announced on our website as well. They're coming in. We got a lot of really good talent, as you can see right here. We got a lot of bowl game commits that we're announcing by the minute. And then you can check all of our content, Dime in the Rough. So we got some college football stuff, NFL stuff. Here you can find our Ball in the Boot shows as well, our Player of the Week shows. Chase with Jason, and then going bowling with Andy and myself as we break down the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. Tickets are online. You can find them on our website. We go to Gridiron Football All-American Bowl right here. You can go and find your tickets. It's going to be Monday, December 30th. It's going to be at Memorial Stadium. As you see, a lot of really good talent. All these players have been either all-state guys, all-district guys, and we'll be playing college football. At some level, they'll have one more chance to show off their skill set in front of college coaches. So make sure to go to our website. There's more information. These are all the players over the years that signed to play college football. You see D1 FBS on the left column, FCS on the middle column, D2 on the right, D3 NAIA and JUCO. So a lot of really good talent here. Make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. And guys, we're going to be breaking it down week by week as well. So we're going to be really enjoying this ride to the road to the dome. Appreciate Grant, Alex, and Daryl for all of them. I'm Jason Luzerne. Sign off and Ball in the Boot. And next week we'll all be together as we break down the first round matchups and we talk about the second round as we continue the road to the dome here on Ball in the Boot. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.